Yo, what's up, my YouTube people? I have not made a video in a couple days. I have been sick, and for that reason, I was not really filming. But today, I actually thought about a quick video I want to make. And I'm still editing some other videos, which is some workout videos I got, and I probably will upload them by the end of the week. But I figured I'd just add this in here real quick, a quick topic that I feel like y'all may want some information on. Now, this topic will be resting heart rate. That might be like a odd topic, right? Like, oh, what is resting heart rate? Like, what does that have to do with anything? But the other day I was looking at my resting heart rate, and I was comparing it over time periods of how fit I was versus a couple of years ago. I was looking at like the data points on your Apple Watch, and then I have the Garmin watch now. And over the years, I was looking at how fit have I got and what happened to my resting heart rate. Then I was doing some research on, is there a correlation between the resting heart rate being higher or lower, and what does that mean about your health? So as a person who isn't fit yet or isn't working out, by looking at your heart rate, can you make a general assumption as to where your health levels are in terms of fitness? So actually, let me see if I show y'all. So I had let me show y'all on this. Let's get back to it. So my resting heart rate is 39 beats a minute, right? And usually, depending on whatever watch you have, usually the Apple Watches will tell you if you wear your watch during your sleep session. So if you're sleeping and you wear the watch throughout the night, the data points will kind of track how your heart rate is during your sleep, and then it'll give you an average over that whatever. If you sleep for 6 hours, over the 6 hours, over the 8 hours that you sleep, what your resting heart rate is. Now, from what we know, the basic medical board, they tell us that your average heart that says you're, in good standing should be at least 65, right? And so if you're at least at 65 as a resting heart rate, that means that you have a pretty decent level of fitness, or you're in the general healthy zone, right? So you're not good, you're not bad, you're where you need to be. It could be better, obviously, but so mine is 39. On average, I've looked over it. Sometimes it's 39, 38. Sometimes it's 40, 44. So I would say it's anywhere between 38 to 45 on average, but it's well below 50. I'll put it that way. Now, when I looked at when I was a couple years ago, when I was primarily weightlifting, my resting heart rate was like 65, sometimes even 70. And I was a lot bigger, had a lot more muscle on me. I'm a lot lighter now. Like back then I was like 210, 205, 200s. Actually, I lied. I hardly ever got to 210. More like 200, 190s. But now I'm like 180-ish. So my resting heart rate has dropped like over 20 beats in the last couple of years. And the biggest thing that changed for me was I did a lot of cardio. Cardio is what is going to help your heart primarily get stronger. So what that means is if your heart has to beat less while it's sleeping, it's working less, so it doesn't have to do more. It can do less and let your body recover properly. If your heart is at a 80 beats per minute resting heart rate, that means your heart is pumping blood. It's struggling to keep you alive while you're sleeping, and that over time is what puts stress on your body, and leads to people to get strokes and heart attacks and things like that. Is stress, bad heart health. So your heart isn't healthy for the body you have. It's being worked overtime way too much, so it never gets a proper time to rest, and it's working a lot harder than it needs to be. So I know I'm talking about resting heart rate. Is what can you do now to lower your resting heart rate? So if you guys have the opportunity, if you guys have the watch, most people have the Apple Watches or some kind of electronic device watch that has these compatible things where they kind of, and I just want to say before I say this, obviously it's not as accurate as if you had the Garmin, whatever, what they have, Polar, they have Garmin, they have a couple brands. Basically, it's a strap and it's an electric reader that reads your heart rate, and it's way more accurate than these wristwatches. However, when you're sleeping, there's not a lot going on. So 9 times out of 10, if you have the newer Apple Watches, they're going to be pretty spot on. Then I've tested, I've measured what my heart rate is with the electronic reader for your chest, the chest strap, and I've done that with the Garmin, and they're like within 2 to 3 beats off. So it's pretty accurate, right? You can get a basic analysis of where you're at. You know, usually if you have like the new Apple Watches, if it's telling you it's 50, more than likely you're not at 30 and you're not at 70. You can probably tell that if it says 50, maybe you're at 47, maybe you're at 53, but it's within that range, right? So if you guys have a resting heart rate that's very high, let's say 70 or even over the baseline, which is 65, the first thing that I think everybody should be doing to minimize and lower your heart rate and lower the stress that's on your heart rate is adding in cardio. I think the easiest way to do it is adding in 5 days a week, 30-minute sessions, right? It doesn't need to be anything crazy. That can include walking, swimming, cycling, running, rowing, anything that can work your heart rate continuously over 30 minutes. That's what you want. And you want to do something, especially if you're new at doing cardio, that's low impact. You know, running is the typical cardio method that a lot of people take up, but it's very high impact on the body. So a lot of people kind of do it for the first couple weeks or months, and their body just deteriorates because they're doing it too fast, adding in too much miles, and the intensity is too high for what their body can manage. So they kind of just like, I don't want to do it anymore because this hurts. So what I suggest is 30 minutes of cardio 5 times a week. You do that for a couple months. I'm telling you, if you started at 65, 70, within a couple months, you're going to notice that you're at a way lower resting heart rate than before. And that's because your body's becoming more fit. Even if you don't lose weight, losing weight will aid to that too, because the less mass your body has to hold on to, the less work your body needs to pump blood into the vessels and the muscles and things like that. So a lot of people think like, yo, I should be 250. Being 250 is still a lot of weight. And just because you're 250 of muscle does not mean your body's not working in overdrive to pump blood throughout the muscles, you know what I'm saying? And throughout your body to keep this 250-pound tank alive. You know, so that's another misconception that people think that is, yes, weight is weight at the end of the day, though. You know what I'm saying? 250 pounds of muscle, 250 pounds of fat. Your body still has to work to keep that going. So if you're overweight, obviously you want to lose weight. And by doing cardio, automatically, if you ate the same and you did more cardio, you would start to lose weight because you're now going to slowly but surely be in a caloric deficit. So not only does cardio help you lose weight, but cardio's main purpose, and for me, the main purpose that I tell people to do cardio is not just to lose weight, but to make your heart stronger. That's the big takeaway here. It's not so don't do cardio just because you're ripped. You know what I'm saying? Do it because it makes your heart healthier. It makes your heart stronger. And you'll notice over time, like if you start walking over a couple months and you continue walking, you'll notice that you can walk up the stairs. If you walked up the stairs before and you're out of breath, trust me, a couple months of doing that cardio, you're going to feel better. You're going to feel easier. You get up out of your bed, you could tie your shoes, you could do, like, and some people may think, oh, that's such a stretch. There are some people that genuinely can't do this without they feeling like their heart rate is going to bust out their chest. Some people go up their stairs and they got to take breaks and stuff like that. And that's because they're out of shape and their heart is not healthy. So, guys, quickly, just letting you guys know, cardio, that's all I'm going to say in this video, is cardio is going to be the direct benefactor of you lowering your heart rate. Resting heart rate is what we're talking about. And we can just kind of see from resting heart rate that is a kind of a overview of how your heart health is. Because when you're sleeping, if you're a fit person, you're not going to have 80 beats per minute because you're doing your cardio, you're eating healthy, you're at a lower body weight, so your heart doesn't have to work as hard as it used to pump blood and supply oxygen and whatever your body needs while you're sleeping. So, guys, take this serious. Do some cardio. Find cardio that works for you. Don't just take up the typical running. Everybody's on a treadmill doing a run-in. There's so much things. Cycling. A lot of people don't realize this. I used to think this a long time ago. Cycling, you see the girls in the spin class. Oh, that's only for the girls that's in the spin classes. Yo, cycling is a serious sport. A serious cardio sport. I never believed it until I took up the Zwift thing and started doing those races and just training more. Cardio with the bike, insane. And I think that a lot of people, if they got into it, they would realize just how beneficial they could, cycling is, because one, you can get a stationary bike, you can put it in your room, you don't have to go outside and run, you can go right on your bike that's right in your room. It's literally so easy and convenient, but if you don't even want a bike, if you want to go outside and walk, do that. Walking is also cost efficient because it doesn't cost a lot of money. You could just get a cheap pair of walking shoes and you go outside and you walk. Or you can just wear your regular shoes and go outside and walk. You know what I'm saying? The thing with the cycling is it's a little expensive. You got to get some type of bike. Bikes are more expensive, especially road bikes. So, and if you want to do swimming, sometimes people don't want to do swimming because you have to find a select gym that offers pools. Not all pools are 24 hours. Some pools close late. So if you work like a late night shift job and you want to go to, work out and do some cardio after work, say you want to swim, not all locations will have the pool open because there needs to be a lifeguard. So listen, everybody's situation is different. Just find something that works for you. Don't do what works for me. Don't do what works for your mans or your friend or your shorty or whatever the situation is, or your boyfriend. Do what works for y'all, all right? So, I'm going to leave y'all out here. Holla at y'all. Next video I'm going to post is going to be the workout, which is deadlifts. I have deadlifts today and tomorrow. I had squats yesterday. So I'm gonna be recording today's workout and tomorrow's workout, and then I'm gonna be posting that probably by Friday. All right. So resting heart rate, we want it to be lower. We want our hearts to be stronger. And doing some cardio, what do we say? 5 times a week, 30 minutes each session. Trust me. And a year from now, you're gonna be like, yo, Paxton, I've been doing this. I feel a lot fitter. I'm looking better, I feel better, and my heart rate resting is way lower, and I'm just feeling way fit. So, guys, do what y'all will with this information, and I'll talk to y'all later.